Standard 4, Unit 2, Poem 9, Time for Everything. Hello, my dear students. Today we are going to learn our first semester poem, that is Time for Everything. I think you all are in 4th standard and I don't have to explain you how to look at the watch and see the time. But just looking at the watch and observing the time doesn't mean that you have to just observe the time. You have to follow and you have to walk with the time. Once the time is lost, you will never gain it back. So, my dear students, let me tell you that time is precious for each and every human being. In this poem, the poet presents the importance of time for everyone. He says everything is bound to time. Universal system, life and death, joys and sorrow, sowing and reaping, getting and losing, silence and speech, and everything else happens at its fixed time. So, the time plays a major role in our life. We all must be aware of its value. In this poem, the poet explains us that the time, whatever we do, belongs to each and every human being. That is, there is a time to run and a time to walk. There is a time for silence, a time for talk. There is a time for work and a time for play. There is a time for sleep at the close of day. There is a time for everything you do, for children and for grown-ups too. A time to stand up and a time to sit, but see that the time and actions fit. In this poet, the poet wants to say us that we are bound to do our work activities according to the time. In the first line, the poet says, there is a time to run and a time to walk, which means in the morning, suppose if you all want to do your exercise, you need to get up, you need to go for a jogging, do some exercise, have a walk for 30 minutes, which is very good for our health, and you can come back, have your breakfast, study for some time, and you can go back to your school. There is a time for silence, a time for talk, which means in this poem, the poet says, when you enter the class, there is only one person where teacher is explaining, the class should be silence. And when she questions you, right, you need to just raise your hand up and you need to talk, that is, you need to give your answers. There is a time for work and a time for play. In this sentence, it is said, you all have your work schedule. That it means morning when you get up, you have your breakfast, you do your homework, you go for your classes, you come back, you have your lunch, and then you go back to your school. After that, in the evening when you come back from the school, you just have your snacks and you go down to play for some time. As you have studied for the entire day, you need some time to refresh yourself. So, you just go down to play for some time. There is a time for sleep at the close of day. After having your entire day work, your body needs a rest. And you need a sound sleep for at least 8 to 9 hours. As you all are small kids, you all need at least 8 to 9 hours for a sound sleep. And then when you have a fresh mind, you get up early morning and then again you go back to your work. There's time for everything you do, for children and for grown-ups too. Which means the time is not only meant for you, my dear children. It is meant for your parents, for your grandparents, for your teachers, for your relatives. Time is meant for everybody. We have to walk with the time. In short, we can say we have to run with the time because Once the time is gone, you will never gain it back. A time to stand up and a time to sit. But see that the action and times fit. In these two sentences, it is said that when you need to stand and answer your questions to the teacher, you have to just stand up and answer her the questions. When the teacher is explaining the lesson, you all sit quietly in one place. You fold your hands and just listen attentively to what teacher is teaching. But see that the time and actions fit, which means that if the teacher has told you all, my dear students, come on, stand up. And again, if you all are just sitting and you are watching her, so that the action that is the she has told you to stand and you all are sitting doesn't fit. Whatever the commands have been given to you by your teachers, by your elders, by your grandparents, by your relatives, by your friends, you need to follow that command according to that time and actions which they are fitting. If they say, come on, let's go and play, and still if you are just sitting like in one place, so that doesn't fit in an action. You have to go when your friends are asking you, come on, my dear friend, we'll go and play. You need to go and play sometime. Okay, so once again I will just say that time is very important for each and every human being. Have you all understood the poem, my dear children? Okay, thank you. Just read the poem once again and you all can copy down in your copywriting book. Okay, thank you.